Iron Age hill forts were built within the Iron Age, the last 700 years BC. And we may suppose that Buckland Rings was constructed perhaps 550, 500 BC and went in and out of use until about 100 BC, when all the hill forts in this part of the country went out of use.
Pliny, the classical historian, said that the Celts had a particularly light bread. And we know that there was yeasted bread from the Stone Age because we've actually found them in the archaeology in Switzerland. This is what we call a bread cup. The way this is made is actually by heating a stone, which has to be igneous, it has to be granite. If you put a sedimentary stone in the fire, it explodes, so it's rather dangerous.
So that is very, very hot right now.
And you check the temperature of it by throwing bits of flour onto it. And then you keep throwing flour until it just goes lightly brown. And then you know it's ready to cook. And then we'd get a bit of flour and water dough, or like we have here, we have some wild yeasted dough. And you roll it out, and then you literally just put it over the hot stone and just wait a little while. It's usually about 5 or 10 minutes. And then just twizzle it, take it off, and you've got a cup, a bread cup.
Ta-da! Yay!
This is the smoked fish stew. It's made by frying some bacon and some leeks together with some butter. And then once it's nice and soft, you add mixed smoked fish. It can be smoked salmon, smoked cod, smoked mackerel. And then just cream, milk and chives and just heat it up through, and that's it. That's this delicious prehistoric stew. Certain traditional recipes very similar to this. Even today in Scotland they still make a stew similar to this, but they add potatoes, but of course there were potatoes in prehistory. That's it then, just cook. That's done then. This is the dough for the sweet bean cake. The beans in this are called borlotti beans today, but they're very similar to the British field bean or the tick bean that was used in the Iron Age. They have a very thick skin on them, which I think is why they went out of favour, and today they're used very much for animal feeds. But the borlotti bean is very similar. If you crush them to get the skin to actually break, and we added roasted hazelnuts, butter, honey and flour, and mix them together and then just cook them on a griddle. This is a really good high protein snack. It's the sort of thing that they would have had available to them as something, if they went on a hunting trip, they could take these with them and it would sustain them. Starting to go grainy already. It starts to look like scrambled eggs and then it starts to squeak. And when it squeaks, it separates the buttermilk from the butter. And it starts to clean the bowl, and then before you know it, you've got the liquid, the buttermilk coming out. And that's nice, fresh butter. These are soft rush or juncus, and a nettle fibre cloth. Go over the top. I'm just going to put that over. They would have washed it and washed it and washed it, because unless you get all the buttermilk out, it goes rancid. But as we're going to actually use it today, it doesn't matter. I'll get this out of here. Back into here. Add a little bit of salt. Just mix it in. If you wanted to keep this, then obviously you'd have to really wash it, but this will be just right for putting on our bread to go with our Iron Age bacon sandwich, because brown bread and butter and bacon is about as Iron Age as you can get, because they're very keen on preserving meats with salt. They had very simplistic diets. They didn't have a huge amount of carbohydrates really, apart from their bread. We would gather, we'd have berries, we'd have nuts, we wouldn't have many roots, and we'd have lots of meat and fish. That's our natural diet as a human animal.
It's been really interesting that we've been able to see Jackie showing us some of these things in actuality, and they also tasted extremely good. So the Iron Age diet would have been quite nice as long as you hadn't run out of your staple foods.